Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. What we're going to make are brownies. In fact, I think this might be, I don't know, my fourth one in a row. Now, if you're looking for all types of brownies, all types of flavors, whether cake brownies, fudgy brownies, whatever type of flavor, please check out my channel because I believe this makes 27 videos solely on all types and flavors of brownies. So if this isn't quite right for you, please check out my channel. Now, right off the bat, I want to tell you I'm sorry I no longer put the directions under the video, and I'm really sorry about that. But hopefully I'll go through the recipe slowly enough and clearly enough that if you want to jot it down, you'll be able to get the recipe, okay? So first we want to start off with butter. Now I have 1 cup of butter, which I cubed up because I think it's easier and quicker to cream. And I have had it at room temperature. So you want it, you don't want, it out of the fridge. You don't want it cold. You want it at room temperature where it's almost, that if you touch it, it's soft, a soft butter. So I'm just going to put that all into my mixing bowl. Now, you can certainly use your hand mixer if you prefer. I use the stand because it's quicker and easier, I believe, for the video. I'm also going to warn you about the sound because this mixer can come out on your end quite loud. So I'll give you a heads up every time that I put it on, okay? And first I'm going to, with my paddle, that I'm using a paddle today, and I'm going to break up that butter and begin to cream it. So heads up about the sound. Okay, now you're going to spend time, much more than that. I'm just moving it along because of the video, but make sure it's broken up and it's creamed well. The next thing that you're going to be putting into your butter is 2 cups of granulated sugar. So I'm going to start to beat that in, and I want to beat it till it's very smooth and very silky. So warn you about the sound. Okay, now I have a little bit of butter sticking on my paddle, so I want to free that and quickly clean the sides because it tends to stick to the bottom where the paddle is. So I'm going to turn it on again, warn you about the sound. Okay, now normally of course I wouldn't use that high of a speed. About medium is what you want. But again, I want to just move it along. The next thing that you're going to put in is 4 eggs. And they also have been at room temperature. And I'm going to beat them in one at a time. So warn you about the sound. Okay, again, the higher speed would generally be medium, and spend that 2 or that 3 minutes to really get it nice and smooth and it becomes like a pale yellow color. The next thing that I'm going to beat in is vanilla, and you're going to need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Warn you about the sound. Okay, now we want to get the dry ready. What you're going to need is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and you're going to be putting in unsweetened baking cocoa. Now, this is not the type of cocoa that you just put hot water in it and you can make hot chocolate, or you put hot milk into it. This is unsweetened, okay? You're going to need 1/4 plus 3 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa, okay? So, and that bears repeating. It is 1/4 cup plus 3 tablespoons. And I'm just using my little whisk here just to give it a good stir. You don't have to be real fussy with it, but just give it a good little spin of your spoon or fork or spatula, whatever you're using. The last thing that we're going to be putting in is a 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. That's 1/8. Now, the question might come up, or I get asked, you know, there was no baking powder or no baking soda. And no, this particular recipe does not require it. And they come out delicious. They really do. But no, I'm not leaving it out because I know I do get questions or comments. So I want to, you know, maybe answer that ahead of time. So we're going to just slowly start bringing the dry into the wet, warn you about the sound, and just do a little at a time, because if your speed is too high, of course, you're going to be covered with this mixture, and so is your kitchen. So I'm going to turn this on and get it going little at a time, adding the dry. Now you're going to use different speeds, of course, to go slower to where you get medium, where again the dry is incorporated and it won't fly all over. So we're just going to put a little at a time. And we're almost done here. Now I'm going to raise my speed up just to get everything combined. Okay, of course you're probably not going to be using that high of a speed, again about medium, but I wanted to get it going, move it along so I don't have to keep you too long watching. And I'm going to just take the excess off my paddle. Okay. Okay. And I'll set that aside. And now I'm just going to make sure and blend, clean up that sides of the bowl, checking the bottom to see if the paddle blended everything. You don't want to overbeat them either, because I think what happens is the brownies become very tough in texture, and they're, you know, they just have too much density and you're not going to like them. Okay, now what you're going to be looking for though is a very smooth batter. It'll be a very, well, like a light colored chocolate. It's not real dark chocolate here. This particular almost looks like a light milk chocolate. I don't know if you can see that, but it's quite silky and quite smooth, and that's what you want, okay? The next thing is we're going to put it into a 13 by 9 by 2 pan, and I did grease it and I dusted it with flour. If you don't want to do that, feel free to use your parchment paper. I don't use this oil spray on this particularly, if you know what I'm talking about, the name brand spray, because they tend to stick. So that's why I prefer, but you decide what's best for you and how to grease your 13 by 9 pan, okay? And with my spatula, I'm just going to do my best to get into all the corners of the pan, smooth it out as equally as I can. And then bake it at 350 degrees, and it's going to take you anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes, so you remember to start checking it. I like to check mine at about 22 minutes, and it's at 350. And this is how they turn out. Now you can frost them, you can garnish them with powdered sugar or a sugar glaze. You can add nuts if you want, use about a half a cup of chopped nuts. But they come out just delicious. So I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.